this is Manindrabu from Batam. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
I'm Sela Sadakau from Vatupula. I only listen to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold Benaka, I'm Vale and I'm working at Golden Grove Resort and I love listening to Gold FM because it plays a really wide range of classic hit music.
I'm Saini Sakio from Kashmir Wotoka. I like Gold FM, but only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Good evening, I'm Jackie Spade. This is FBC News. Tonight, civil service reform to include competitive salaries. New law restricts sharing of credit information. And fisherman rescued after 9 days at sea. Skilled public servants are likely to receive better pay packets once the civil service reform is complete. Minister responsible Aya Said Kayum in a parliamentary statement gave a detailed overview of the reform process.
It's a massive exercise looking at every aspect of the civil service, finding laxities, making improvements and plugging gaps in delivery. The government is at the same time looking to match civil service pay for highly skilled workers with that of the private sector.
There is currently a compensation benchmark survey exercise being undertaken for all the ministries whereby internal job descriptions or descriptors are matched against similar positions in the private and NGO sectors to determine the external market rate for each benchmark position.
Civil Service Minister Aya Said Kayum adds the reform is going to adjust salary scales within the ministry to ensure there is parity.
Sometimes the pay structures weren't given the guidelines they should have been. So there was sometimes you had different positions being paid astronomically high amounts of salary in relation to the others within the ministry or in relation to the outside market. So the idea is to rationalize those costs.
There are 145 professional posts in different ministries which are being surveyed against the private sector.
Consistency while still allowing high-performing civil servants autonomy in regards to strategic thinking, innovation and the constant improvement and excellence in service delivery.
Other initiatives include the job evaluation guidelines, which will begin next month, and the discipline guidelines to assist the permanent secretaries that will begin in July. 3 large ministries have been reviewed and reports are being prepared, while 6 are undergoing their exercise right now. 4 other ministries will be reviewed in the second half of the year. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Parliament has passed a bill to regulate credit reporting or the practice of recording and sharing details of money owed by average Fijians and businesses in Fiji. The fair reporting of credit bill is now in force, giving the Reserve Bank of Fiji governing powers over all credit information stored by any reporting agency.
The act effectively means that Data Bureau Limited, a company that stores credit information and shares it with paying members, must surrender all information to the Reserve Bank. Finance Minister Aya Said Kayum says the act gives Fijians a fair chance.
This company that exists at the moment, Data Bureau Limited, it has to do 2 things. It can continue. All the data it has must be given to the Reserve Bank of Fiji. It must be quarantined. We must start off on a clean slate. We need to have a new beginning for this credit reporting regime.
Under the Fair Reporting of Credit Act, a business must apply for a license to operate as a credit information agency. An individual has the right to receive a copy of the information stored by such an agency, ask for corrections, and challenge the accuracy of the data. The Finance Ministry can now control the minimum amount of data reported to an agency like Data Bureau. Trade Minister Fayaz Koya also noted that records stored by Data Bureau aren't always accurate.
Many times the information is incorrect, which has led to many Fijians not being able to access finances from lending institutions. But there's an urgent need to ensure that all the credit reporting is done accurately and that the credit reporting agency is held liable for any incorrect information.
The Association of Banks in Fiji says there are now increased risks in personal lending because of the act, and processing times will increase as banks carry out due diligence. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
The removal of the Great Council of Chiefs, or the Mbose Levo Vakaturanga, has made no difference to the identity of chiefs in society. This was highlighted by Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama today as he made a ministerial statement explaining why the government opposes the reinstatement of the GCC. Akosita Tale again with this report.
They did not do anything at all.
Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama stood in Parliament today, unapologetic of abolishing the Great Council of Chiefs 4 years ago. Traditional leaders, he says, are here to stay despite the non-existence of the GCC.
Rotemumu is a politician, so of course you can expect a degree of rough and tumble in political life, but the traditional role as a high chief continues outside this house. By placing them above politics, we have increased the manner of the chiefs of Fiji.
Bainimarama adds that without the GCC, chiefs are able to focus on their traditional roles and be a force of unity rather than be a division in our national lives.
Because our chiefs are now above politics. Our chiefs can no longer be compromised. In fact, the removal of the GCC as an institution is not in contravention of the ILO Convention on the Protection of the Rights of Indigenous and Tribal People.
Yes.
The Prime Minister has also rubbished comments from the opposition that the GCC was a stabilizing influence in Fiji.
The fact is that in the end, the GCC had become so politicized, so divisive, that it was a significant obstacle to improving the lives of ordinary Fijians. It was certainly a major obstacle to the most important issue of all, our pursuit of a common and equal citizenry to finally build one nation and move forward together.
Bainimarama stressed that petition to reinstate the GCC is an insult to Fijians who are still trying to rebuild their lives following the devastation of TC Winston. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
A 20-year-old from Madawata who drifted at sea for 9 days is lucky to be alive after being rescued by a fishing vessel on the 19th of this month. The vessel arrived at the Miller's Wharf in Suva this morning, and Reginald Atambakau was rushed to the CWM hospital. Ali Kimpia has more.
Crew members on this fishing vessel found Reginald drifting in a fiberglass boat near Rotuma waters, more than 500 kilometers from where he started drifting in the Madawata waters.
According to the captain's report, at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday the 19th, they saw a flashlight and they saw the fisherman who was on the fiberglass boat about to jump off the fiberglass because it was sinking when the Zonda number 2 captain found him.
When FBC News visited the fishing vessel Zonda 2 this morning, Reginald had been rushed to hospital for a medical checkup. He had been adrift at sea for 9 days and only he had 1 bottle of water to sustain him. Police confirmed the man had gone diving with 4 others from his village and was separated due to bad weather.
He drifted from Madawata on the 11th and he was found by Zonda 2 on the 19th.
The victim was visited by police when the vessel berthed at Walube this morning and he is in good health. Reginald will be reunited with his family once he recovers and is fit to travel. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
Fiji received $143 million worth of pledges and $102 million in technical assistance and aid in kind following Tropical Cyclone Winston. From $28 million pledged in cash donations, $6.7 million have not come through from 6 different countries. Ellen Stolz reports.
Minister for Natural Disaster Inia Seriratu says the government is thankful for all the donations that have come in thus far.
The Prime Minister's Relief Fund, Madam Speaker, this was in 2 forms. We have about 4.7 million in the commercial banks in Fiji. ANZ, BSP, Westpac, Home Finance, Baroda, and BRED. Initiated by the Ministry of Finance, people, we have no records of whoever pledged into this, but the details in the respective banks.
Seriratu says the Prime Minister's trust has received $6.1 million and receipts have been issued to donors. He also shed some light on the flash flood appeal, where $28 million was pledged by donors.
And of course, that money does not come to government, but it goes to the clusters based on the donor's preference. I need to make that clear to the honourable members of the House.
The Minister says the utilisation of these funds will be decided by the Prime Minister according to priority areas. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
Traffickers to be sentenced tomorrow. A new seawall for Karoko village. Stay with us.
I'm Sarah, I'm from Tafwa, and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Freddy, I'm from Ganiatong. I listen to Mario on the traffic jam every afternoon.
Hi, my name is Salah, I live in Asinu. Today FM rocks.
My name is Denasa and I'm from Lutoka and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Mulamila, I work at Golden Point Resort. I love listening to Today FM, it rocks in Raki Raki.
I'm Mary from Mandera. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
We love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The manufacturing sector, including micro, small and medium businesses, have all been affected by Tropical Cyclone Winston. Minister responsible, Fayaz Koya, revealed that a number of initiatives are now underway to cushion the fallout and continue to keep the economy on a growth track. Maggie Boyle reports.
The economy is strong despite the effects of Tropical Cyclone Winston. Minister Fayaz Koya says our manufacturing sector remains on a steady course.
Our manufacturing sector represents about 13.1% of our gross domestic product. The sector employs about 20,122 people, accounting for about 13.6% of the total labour force.
However, help is being provided to over 1,000 SMEs and other businesses that have felt the brunt of TC Winston.
Similar to the manufacturing and commerce sector, we also have completed a preliminary assessment and have a proposal prepared for the rehabilitation of the micro and small grant recipients.
Koya says there are also measures in place to ensure a holistic approach.
The fast-track FDI committee, which consists of Investment Fiji, the Reserve Bank of Fiji, Department of Immigration, Ministry of Local Government, including the Directors, Town and Country Planning, Itoke Land Trust Board, FIRCA and Ministry of Lands.
The minister did note that tourism remains unaffected by the cyclone and is on track for record visitor arrivals. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The lawyers of convicted drug traffickers in 30-year-old Australian national Joseph Aborisk and 50-year-old Lami taxi driver Josese Muriwanga made submissions for mitigation in the Lautoka High Court this morning. Aborisk was represented by Iqbal Khan and Australian counsel Warwick Korn. Muriwanga was represented by Lautoka lawyer Mark Anthony, who asked the court to consider a conviction for simple possession of illicit drugs and not for trafficking or supplying the drugs. Both Aborisk and Muriwanga are being remanded at the Nathambur Corrections Facility after being convicted of unlawful possession of illicit drugs, namely cocaine. They were arrested in Vunda last June with the drugs valued at $15 million. They will be sentenced at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. 57 families living in a coastal community in the Dakandrove province are breathing a sigh of relief as they do not have to worry anymore of seawater invading their village. The United States Agency for International Development has built a seawall for the village as climate change continues to affect their livelihoods. Eleanor Turangaivu with this report.
Located about 2 hours away from Savo and known as the port of landing for boats going to and from Rambi Island, Karoko village is not immune to the effects of climate change. Villagers say they have moved about 20 to 30 meters inland due to the intrusion of seawater in the village.
This is where the village was located before and all the houses were built here. But now we have moved to higher grounds.
While the ultimate aim is to relocate, temporary solutions are being sought to help mitigate the effects of climate change.
We're living on borrowed times now, put it that way. Their thing is going to inevitably come.
we'll be facing a vulnerability, maybe 3 decades or so. We should be doing something else apart from this.
For communities such as Karoko, getting technical and financial assistance to help them fight climate change is always a challenge. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, under its Coastal Community Adaptation Project, stepped in and helped fund the construction of a village seawall to the cost of $80,000.
Now, Karoko, along with 7 other sites, I believe, in Fiji, had created proposals that reflected the democratic process within the community, the decisions of the community to prioritize certain climate change risks. And based on those proposals that were put forward, USAID's Coastal Communities Adaptation Program selected Karoko.
The opening of the Karoko Coastal Protection Project also marks the village's first disaster risk reduction and management plan. The 210-meter stretch of seawall is an effort to make Karoko more resilient to the effects of climate change. It is expected to protect the village for the next 2 to 3 decades. Eleanor Turangaibu, FBC News.
The Fiji Higher Education Commission has today announced 2 major international conferences in higher education to be hosted by Fiji. This is the first time the high-level events have been moved away from larger developed countries. Kelly Vavala has the details.
The 2 conferences next month will be a demonstration of Fiji's pursuit of quality, excellence and relevance in higher education. Fiji Higher Education Commission Director Salwati Rombuka says the FHEC wants local programs to be globally competitive and internationally recognized.
Quality assuring higher education in other parts of the world, to learn from their experiences and whatever that they will share as part of what they have researched and gathered data on, so that we can learn from this.
The 2 conferences are the International Network of Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education Forum and the Asia Pacific Quality Network Annual Conference. The events will bring together experiences and findings from countries which have established themselves in quality tertiary education. Globalization is also proving to be a challenge for higher education.
Globalization in higher education, and this is coming through in the form of rising enrollments in institutions, movement, this movement of students across borders.
Meanwhile, with more than 300 attendees, the FHEC is also pleased to help boost tourism.
These conferences are the Commission's small contribution to boosting visitor arrivals in the country. We've got about 300 people coming.
Both conferences will be held at the Natandola Intercontinental next month. Kelly Vavala, FBC News.
Harnessing space-based technology and information communication systems is the way forward in managing disasters in the future. The National Disaster Management Office expects that this will remove the need for field reports and damage assessments will be a thing of the past. Madhumbolai Tamana has more on this story.
Thanks to the Asian Development Bank, those in this room will be some of the first to learn how to use Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, which uses satellites and other technologies to monitor systems.
We have just established a GIS unit in the office as of last year, and that needs to be capacitated with the relevant resources and also the relevant personnel. And by going through what we had during Tropical Cyclone Winston, actually put to the fore the need to have this unit strength.
Fiji will pilot the use of GIS for the Oceania region. Tifangalele says that apart from the survey aspect of the system, it can also pinpoint areas that will be affected during a disaster.
And we are looking further beyond that to also take into consideration disaster risk reduction, where we have various projects that are actually being put up by the communities on the ground to increase their resilience.
For the Fiji Red Cross, the initiative is a godsend, covering areas without having to send manpower from one community to another.
You can cut as much as 2 days to a week, even 3 weeks, being able to do it in one hit. This is, for me, is exciting. I've not been disappointed with what we've had this morning, and I'm looking forward as this develops to see how we can use this technology to enable us to respond faster, better.
The ADB will be working with the NDMO as it continues to build on the pilot project here in the coming months before it will be replicated around the region. Madium Tamana, FBC News.
Big day in sports today with the Coke Games in the capital city. Edwin is here with all the details.
And big day indeed, Jackie. We have all the action from the Coke Games, from day one of the Coke Games from the ANZ Stadium. And also coming up in sports, a strong flying Fijians lineup named for the Pacific Nations Cup.
Tunisia tuotua, ongonia saurara, ondo wulwul tagi tunga na TV ni na market e tawa. Ondo tali tanga na waronga na Bula FM na magdua na ser.
Bula na viti, na da ko plasio matairi, ngone mai na na bula tabiuni, au sa tunga nandi, ondo tali tai na warongo na Bula FM. Bula!
Bula FM number 2 en seri.
Good evening. Suva Grammar School and Jasper William High School have taken an early lead in the boys and girls divisions respectively after the opening day of the Coca-Cola Games. Suva Grammar leads the boys division with 1 gold and 1 bronze medal ahead of Ndelana Methodist High School of Levuka and Nusawa Methodist High School from Tavyuni. In the girls division, defending champions Jasper Williams High School leads the pack with 2 gold and 1 silver medal, followed by Napuka Secondary School and Xavier College. The senior 100 meters event is always a major draw card in the Coke Games. In the senior boys heats, Sanaila Simeli of St. Thomas High School laid down the gauntlet heading into the finals tomorrow.
Set, and it is a good start by Albert Miller. Albert races away. Outside of him is Elatia. Elatia races away. On the far side is Dhuvu College guy. And Dhuvu College guy is racing away. Wame Ronge from Dhuvu College. And Queen Victoria, Elatia Wanganindovu, second.
And defending champions Jasper Williams High School were running high in the senior girls 100 meters heats and look promising for the final tomorrow.
Set off they go. As you can see, the girl from Jasper Williams is picking it up now. Jasper Williams High School, Sesenia Lindono, striding it through. And in second place is the girl from Singatoko Methodist.
The 100 meters final will begin at 4:40 p.m. tomorrow. And it was a special day for the Lilidhama family on the opening day of the Coca-Cola Games. Twin sisters Katarina and Elisabetta Lilidhama of Napuka Secondary School finished first and second respectively in the junior girls javelin throw. Katarina scooped the gold medal with a throw of 43.97 meters. And as the 2016 Coca-Cola Games got underway at the ANZ Stadium, the heats for the boys and girls 100 and 400 meters events got underway on the tracks. But the 8 medals on offer on day one were contested in the field events, with the first medal of the competition going to Ndelana Methodist School student Numaya Rawaisavu of Levuka in the senior boys shot put.
I'm very excited to receive this medal. First of all, I would like to thank the Almighty for giving me the strength. Secondly, the school in Ndelana Methodist for giving me another chance to perform in the Coke Games. And lastly, my sponsor, Combat. Thank you very much for your support and your sponsorship.
And quickly on to other sports coverage. Tonight, 5 overseas-based reps have been named in a power-packed Vodafone Fiji Sevens extended squad for the Paris and London Sevens next month. The overseas-based reps are Leone Nakarawa, Waisea Neadalevu, Joshua Tuisuva, Semi Kunatani and Samisoni Viriviri. Coach Ben Ryan has retained the 12-member squad that won the Hong Kong Sevens this month and has also included towering forward Viliame Mata. The Paris Sevens will be held on the 16th and 17th of next month, with the London Sevens to be held a week later. Vodafone Flying Fijians coach John McKee has named a 53-member extended squad to prepare for the Pacific Nations Cup and the June Test. McKee has retained 14 forwards from the Rugby World Cup team. Sikeli Nambo, who plays in French Pro D2, has made his cut into the team. Also in the group are Daniela Koroi, Chale Sasen, Matayasi Udutambo, Naulia Ndawai and Johnny Daya. In the backs, Crusaders winger Chone Madilai has been roped into the team alongside former Sevens player Benito Masilevu. Clermont's top winger and in-form Alifereti Raka and Toulon winger Joshua Tuisuva will be part of the extended squad. Fiji 7 star player Savena Rawada is also expected to join training. Meanwhile, 28 players will be selected to represent Fiji in the Pacific Nations Cup and the June Test. The Vodafone Fiji side won its last pool match at the World Rugby Under-20 Trophy Challenge, beating hosts Zimbabwe 42 points to 22. Fiji had earlier edged Uruguay 38-34 but lost to Samoa 32 points to 8. The side will now play Namibia in the third place playoff on Saturday. Samoa play Spain in the final and the winner will qualify for the Under-20 Rugby Championships. And that is sports for tonight. Good evening.
The Life Insurance Corporation of India has paid over $10 million in bonus to its policyholders last year, making it the highest ever. Investments has risen by 10%, crossing over $500 million. The insurance company's value of assets is over $560 million, rising by 66% in the last 5 years. LICI has 57,361 running policies under individual assurance and 2,335 under group assurance.
This year we'll be completing 60 years, and this is a very landmark year for us, and we're happy that in 2015 the results have been very good, very satisfactory, and we are looking at 2016 to be even better.
Fine weather prevailed over the country today. Looking at temperatures, Nandi, Ba and Lautoka were in lower 30s, while Suva, Savo and Lambasa recorded 29 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast is fine apart from brief showers about the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands, moderate to rough seas. And the further outlook gets for Saturday, and brief showers are to be expected. Recapping the top stories for tonight, public servants are likely to receive better pay packets once the civil service reform is complete. Fair reporting of credit bill gives the Reserve Bank of Fiji governing powers over all credit information stored by any reporting agency. And 2 drug traffickers to be sentenced tomorrow. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. On to the poll question for this week, we are asking, are developed countries doing enough to fight climate change? To answer, visit our FBC website. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate. Good night.
आपको खरगंगा की रंजिला का नमस्कार। रेडियो फिजी की सुंदर सुंदर यादों का खजाना एकदम बचपन के दिन याद करा देते हैं।
हमारा नाम जॉनी नायडू है, हम रहता है मलोलो में और हम टैक्सी ड्राइवर है। हम सब टाइम अपन टैक्सी में रेडियो फिजी 2 सुनता प्रोग्राम।
हम सिंगाटोका के हैं, हमारा नाम है रोजी। हम लोग यहाँ पे रेडियो फिजी 2 सुनता है।
राम राम, मैं रेमस प्रसाद बोलता हूँ, तब वता में कोई रहता हूँ। मैं जब भी सुना रेडियो फिजी 2 ही सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन।